Red Hood Outlaw Annual Issue 3. Scott Lobdell writing with Adam Polina on the art. So take it away.
That's not by saying I quite like the art mostly. There's like some faces look wrong and off, but like the very first page is it's Red Hood, in his new red hoodie jacket that he's got, and you can just see the red eyes and everything else is silhouetted. It's the middle of the day, by the way, I should point out, but he's kind of walking towards his sword in a field. The sword's out of focus in the foreground. You got this tree behind him, and the colors.
Sun's out, swords out.
Yeah, it's actually a really gorgeous first page to look at visually. And then you get to some of the faces later on, and faces are not a strong point. So which is probably why this first page works so well with the silhouetted face. But basically, Jason's there at the start for like a page, 2 pages. He talks to this kid who can access the powers of dead people or something. He can sync abilities with the dead to use their superpowers, and
so
he gets
Kid Eternity.
I don't know who this kid is. I don't recognize him.
Okay.
But he calls him Mr. Hood, which is always mildly amusing.
Mr. Hood.
Yeah, but
that was a Arrested Development reference for anyone who didn't get it.
He's like, he can't access their powers. He can't find Artemis or Bizarro. So Jason's like, well, they must still be alive then. And that's your prologue, and then the rest of it is just Artemis and Bizarro. And we cut back 6 months to presumably right after they went through their portal, sacrificing themselves. And they're on another Earth, and they're outside this Earth's version of the Hall of Justice, except it's called the Hall of Punishment. And it's got all these huge spikes coming out of it. It's
punish, punish.
Yeah, but basically, you learn on this world that there was something called Hero Day, where they don't know who exactly caused it. There's speculation that it was Lex or it was Brainiac or whatever. But basically, every hero lost their powers, every single one of them, and every normal person gained powers, like in the flick of a switch. And so the Hall of Justice, or the Hall of Punishment, as it is here, is a museum of to the actual heroes, and the key event is Superman. Body's still there, lying dead, squashed underneath the Daily Planet globe. But it's just on top of his head, and and his chest, and you just see legs sticking out from underneath it.
Oh, nasty! By the way, that
right.
Punish reference was to Silent Night Deadly Night. I'm giving citations for these because I feel like I'm making really obscure references.
I'm reading about Kid Eternity, so I'm mostly tuning you guys out.
Yeah, that's fine. This might have been Kid Eternity. I'm not familiar enough.
No, it's not, because Kid Eternity is able to tap into, like people that have died, like historical figures. So he would have to, not so much superpowers, but hey, I need Excalibur, so boom, he brings back King Arthur for a minute.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Artemis tries to summon her axe, and it doesn't work and she's broken because of it, because she's always had her axe. And then Bizarro gets stabbed by a bunch of the big spikes, because there's this guy controlling them, obviously. And then Bizarro pulls himself off the spikes and grabs the dude and throws him through the roof into the sun. And it's kind of pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. He literally just picks him up like he's throwing a football, American football style, and just hurls him up into the sun. And you're like, all right then. And he's just wiping his hands doing the thing, and I'm like, sure. But there's a couple other characters introduced. There's this resistance to the not heroes, but everyone has powers that are running the world now. They're kind of all terrible, to run this kind of local mob stuff. And there's a guy called Jackknife. They all have terrible names, by the way. There was Air Quotes is one of them. The Dairy King. They're all just terrible names. And this guy's Jackknife, and he's like leading the resistance against them. So then we cut 6 months later, which is present day. And it's this Sting, and Bizarro comes out, and he's wearing like a vest top, and he's got all his guns out. He's grown a beard for whatever reason, and he's ripping up his mechs and doing the fight for them. But Artemis is in prison for whatever reason. Bizarro never rescued her. She's doing her own plan with Jackknife. She's been getting tased every day. The guards are like, step away from the cell. You know the drill. She's like, yeah, I do it every time. I do your orders, and you tase me anyway. And they're like, oh, not this time. Kidding. And then taser. But she's just like, all right, well, I've taken the taser enough now. So she uses that distraction, and Jackknife just takes a couple of them out. So they prison break, and they run into this world's General Lane, who's running all of this, and it's terrible. He's got a big giant brain. Lex Luthor. Because Lex Luthor is now just a giant brain on wheels, and like giant brain, like not just like a bit big, like huge. I'm thinking, Pete, I know you've seen this bit of Doctor Who, the Face of Bo stuff. If you recall any of that,
I know the Face of Bo.
I do recall that. Yes.
Yeah, kind of looks like that. This is their Lex, and they're here to kill Lex because he's the brain behind all of the tactics. So they stab him because that's all it takes apparently. But they open up a door to a new world, and they're off, and they're trying to get home to our Earth, but they don't know if they can manage it. So they just go, well, it'd probably be better than here, and they jump into the portal to probably come back in the next couple of issues. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
I'm shocked.
No kidding.
I'm shocked.
I will say the Bizarro stuff is the least worst stuff, as has often been the case in this book.
The least worst.
Yeah. Artemis was pretty bad, even by Artemis's standards. I appreciated not having to read Jason and his stupid casino shite, though. That's something. I don't know. It's like a 3.5.